Welcome to UC Santa Barbara's Career Services Virtual Workshop Series. Our mission is to educate and empower all students and recent graduates to prepare for and pursue success. You are currently viewing the Resumes Workshop for graduate students. This workshop will be reviewing the foundational knowledge of writing and tailoring resumes. It could be helpful for you to have your resume in front of you for you to critique as we go through each section. If you would like to revisit the majority of this content, review the resumes and cover letters pages under the Get Hired section of our Career Services website. Before discussing the details of resumes, we first need to understand the purpose of these documents. They are the first step in the application process. Think of it as your opening proposition for why you would make a great addition to this team. Resumes are a professional extension of yourself. A resume is read at least by three gatekeepers. First, the applicant tracking system, which we will get into in a bit, human resources, and the hiring manager. A resume is a curated list of your experiences that best fit the job description, whereas the CV is an entire catalog of all your experiences. CVs are for academic purposes only. For any other job, you have to submit a resume. Where do you submit these? You submit your resume either through aggregators such as LinkedIn or directly through the careers page of the firm. When do you do this? For international students, we recommend starting a job search 6 to 9 months before graduation, and for domestic students, 3 to 6 months prior. Applicant tracking systems, or ATS, have become quite prevalent. Most large companies use ATSs to weed out resumes before it even lands at the desk of an HR person. These systems match your resumes to the job ad uploaded by the employer and give them a match score which depicts how suited your resume is to the job. Match scores determine whether your resume stays in the maybe bucket or the discard bucket. ATSs use resume parsing techniques to read resumes. Therefore, don't use uncommon formatting choices because it scrambles the text, making it unreadable for the ATS. Avoid light font colors, inserted images or icons, columns, text boxes, and headers or footers. And lastly, please avoid an easy apply option. Now, please pause the video and take a minute to read the job description on this slide and think about what are the top skills and qualifications this employer is looking for. In the next slide, compare your notes to the one we have highlighted. You need to connect your relevant experience to the keywords and make sure that they show up in your document. An ATS essentially does the job of scanning for these keywords and requirements of an employer with your resume. Hence, we recommend this process so that your resume reflects the key requirements mentioned in the job ad. Use the job ad as a way to make sure that you are aware of the trends or job skills needed for the job. For example, when you read a job ad, does it sound like new business jargon to you? Are the skills they require new to you? Use this as a way to further research and learn about trends in the field or these types of roles so you can be better prepared for the jobs that you're applying for. Last point to note is that reading job ads can make people feel unprepared for a job. But the truth is, if you meet about 60 to 70% of the qualifications for a role, you are ready to apply. Job ads can have a full list of qualifications that employers may ideally want, but realize that they may not get. Now to cover some resume basics. First, we recommend creating a master resume. A master resume is a comprehensive document that is formatted in the same fashion as the resume you would submit for an application, but includes all experiences you've engaged in so far. This document is often longer than 2 pages. When applying to a specific position, we recommend using your master resume and reducing it to include only the relevant information in order to keep your document to 1 or 2 pages. Usually, it is easier to delete lines from your master resume to create a targeted resume, rather than trying to create a new resume every time. There are only 4 to 5 sections you need to create a resume: a header, an objective statement, which is optional, summary of qualifications, education, and experience. We will dive deeper into each of those sections in the upcoming slides. Let's dive into each section. Remember, it would be helpful to have your resume in front of you to edit as we go along. Resume should not be made from templates. Resumes are not set in stone, but are living, breathing documents that need tweaking at regular intervals. Templates might make the resume look appealing at first, but during the updating and tweaking phase, they tend to dislodge the initial look and can make the visual very clunky. One other important thing to note: dates should always be in the month year to month year format on the right hand side of the page. Months can be spelled entirely or abbreviated with 3 letters and period. Years should be in 4 digits, and hyphens must not have a leading or trailing space to ensure that ATS reads the date in its entirety rather than as 2 separate entities. Read more on the Career Services website for details about other ATS tips. The header should ideally include the following information: name, number, personal email address, and link to your LinkedIn profile, if you have one that is completed. Other things such as URLs to your personal website or where you have uploaded your data projects is optional. The one thing to bear in mind is that anything that is linked to or addresses in the header should be of professional quality. The objective statement is an optional statement that may go below your header. This is a one-line statement that seeks to highlight the position you're applying for and how your top skill and goals align with this position. Please have a look at the example. Summary of qualifications section is a 3 to 5 bullet point section with each bullet point quantifying a particular skill set from your experiences that is most suited to the job you are applying for. Think about this section as the 3 to 5 bullet point quantified aggregator of the biggest hits of your career. In this section, highlight key successes and anything that would make you stand out. Focus on quantifying your experience where you can. It is also a good place to capture your publications. Try to highlight soft skills by incorporating them into the statement. For example, utilize strong leadership abilities in group project work to streamline project goals. Now, let's take a look at example bullet points for this section. 3 years of experience designing qualitative and quantitative research projects in the field of political science with specific expertise in international affairs in the Middle East. 4 years of grant writing resulting in $40,000 in research funding. 2 years experience in data tracking and analysis utilizing R programming. The education section of your resume will include your institution, degree, major, and expected graduation date. You should try to spell out University of California, Santa Barbara at first. If you would like to use the university name later on in your resume, you can add UCSB in parentheses after the full name. When using the PhD abbreviation, always use PH period D period. Your education dates should also be structured in month year to month year format as the rest of the document. You can include optional information such as GPAs, relevant coursework, academic honors, and thesis dissertation information. Advisors are recommended if you see fit and if you feel it will make you a more competitive candidate for the job you're applying for. When it comes to GPAs, if you include it for your PhD, it must be included for all your degrees. On this slide, please have a look at the bottom to see how the education section should be structured. This gives you an example of the power of formatting to make things easier to read. Since these documents are initially scanned within 10 seconds, it's important to make sure that your materials are easy to read. Now, let's talk about experience. Your experience sections will comprise the largest area on your resume. A rule for resumes is to order experience in reverse chronological order, most recent to the past. However, you may have some experiences that you want to highlight above others. So how do you put the most relevant experience first? One way is to consider dividing your entire set of experiences into 2 or more categories. Example, industry, research, government, data science, etc. To make sure these sections are ATS compliant, always use the word experience after each category. Example, leadership experience, government experience. So within each category, you are sorting from the most recent to the past, but you can move these sections around to make sure that the most relevant category is first. The heading for each experience section should include position held. If your position was unnamed, create a functional title such as intern, name of the employer or the organization, the location including city and state, and the dates of the employment or involvement in a month year hyphen month year format. In order to make sure your resume is ATS compliant, please use the full organization name as is indicated on Google or LinkedIn. One thing to remember in the experience section is to only include those experiences that are relevant to the job you are applying for. We often think that only paid experience is a good experience. However, your unpaid experience also provides relevant skills to what you're applying for next. One thing to note is that all experience, paid, unpaid, or volunteer, is considered experience if it highlights the skills that are relevant to the job ad. So create experience categories on the topic, not on paid versus unpaid. For example, your, even if unpublished, academic research counts as experience. So don't forget to have a graduate student position to capture the work you are doing in grad school. This can be in addition to a paid GSR position if applicable. Include your research work, graduate student skills gained, relevant dissertation or thesis work into this subsection. You can also include any relevant data analysis, presentations, or managing ongoing projects here. Each individual experience should have 3 to 5 descriptive bullets. These bullet points should not be written as aggregators of the experience, but should rather convey the skills you gained from the highlights. For example, instead of writing planned a conference for 200 people, think about writing took leadership role in organizing a conference on topic X, which saw scholars from 30 different universities participate, leading to X. The best way to think about structuring a bullet point is by focusing on accomplishments and skills related to the job for which you're applying, not simply the duties of the position. Try to quantify outcomes using numbers, percentages, dollar amounts, etc., wherever possible. And use action verbs to start bullet points using proper tense. You must focus on including keywords from the job description and include only relevant information that relates to the position you are applying for. Transferable skills is a way to talk more broadly about your academic or university experiences. Use transferable skills to describe what you have gained through your graduate program that goes beyond academic labels and signifiers of success. For example, a job as a teaching assistant. Consider what an employer cares about from this experience. Employers don't care about office hours and grading. However, they do care about presentations, clarifying technical concepts. Then this teaching assistant subsection should be used to highlight your soft skills: leadership, mentorship, communication, and presentation. Each bullet point in this subsection should be written in a way that one of the above listed skills in a meaningful way. Use transferable skills to highlight marketable skills. Transferable skill words allow you to convert academic language into business relevant experience. For example, I have X number of peer-reviewed publications should be transformed to I have the ability to synthesize research, formulate an opinion, and share written reports and articles to a vast audience. So think about what an employer would see as valuable from your academic experience and write about it from that lens. For example, highlighting skills such as leadership, communication, problem solving, etc. Please pause the video briefly to review the next 3 slides and see examples of how the experience section can be written on a resume. This last slide highlights the resources that can help you enhance your resume on the Career Services website, as well as you can see other grad student examples, including a functional style resume instead of an experience style resume that we just viewed. Once you are ready for someone to review your resume, please submit it to UCSB's VMock, our very own ATS software, to see how well your resume scores when looked at by an ATS software. You can also go ahead and book an appointment with us through Handshake for a more personalized resume review. Thank you for your time and interest in learning more about resumes for graduate students.